Hi, I'm Hermes and welcome to the Sage's Thoughts. So this is the second addition to my 7 Hermetic Law videos. I've already done Law 1, the Law of Mentalism. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend you to go check that one out first. Now we're going to get into Law 2. So what is Law 2? Law 2 is the Law of Correspondence. So firstly, just to look at that word correspondence. So if we're going to just define it, it's have a close similarity, match, or agree almost exactly with something. And if you're going to look at the origin of the word, corresponding comes from the Latin root cor, meaning together, and respondere, meaning to answer. So it's like essentially corresponding or matching with something. So when the law of correspondence is talking about matching, what is it talking about matching with? We're going to go into it. So if you do read the Kabbalion, which these 7 laws can be found in, the initial opening quote is as above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. As without, so within. So what does it mean when it says as above, so below? What is the above? What is the below? The above is talking about the metaphysics you can compare to, or the macrocosm, or the heavens for some people. And the below would be, the vice versa to metaphysics, would be the physical, or to the macrocosm, be the microcosm. To the heavens, it would be the earth. If you want to look at it in regards to ourselves, it could be the soul, and it could be the physical body. So as essentially it's saying we correspond with those two things. Those two things are one and the same. When it says as within, so without, what does that mean? And so as without, so within. The within essentially is our internal world. It is our mind. It is our, reality, or the voice we hear within, essentially. And as without is the physical reality we find ourselves in. So essentially what it's saying is, in that aspect, the life we see before us is something we have brought to fruition. We have brought the life in which we see around us into fruition based on our internal reality. If you find your external reality to be a lot of suffering, it's because more than likely you're suffering internally. So this law essentially empowers you to realize that we are one and the same with the universe and the world around us. Sometimes it can be very scary or feel very lonely to when you feel separate from everything else. And also it empowers you in the aspect that which you are manifesting inside you, you're going to see externally. So you are essentially the artist in your own life. You're the creator of your own life. And by changing your internal world, you're going to see a change externally. So I'm going to draw on a quote which I've watched from the movie Three Magic Words. I'd recommend you to check this out. It really goes into understanding how we are one with nature, one with reality, that as above, so below, that realizing of the correspondence of ourself and nature. So I'm going to say it to kind of give you an understanding. The single thing I would say to people if they asked me, what can I do to change? I would say, change the way you're looking at things. Bring an end to separation theology, to separation cosmology, to separation sociology. You see, separation theology uses theology that says, I'm over here and God is over there. You see, God or the universe. I am separate from God, and God and the universe are separate from me. That separation theology has created a separation cosmology. That is a way of looking at things cosmologically that says, I am separate from everything else. That separation cosmology has produced a separation sociology. That is a way of socializing with each other that says, I am me and you are you. That separation sociology has produced a separation pathology. That is pathological behaviors of self-destruction. All this disappears the moment we abandon the idea of separation. So, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. Living in London, for example, the sociological aspect. Like if you go on a London train, for example, everyone's just headphones in, they don't want to look at each other. If you make eye contact for too long, it gets awkward. Everyone sees themselves as separate from each other. Some people see themselves as separate, as it said, cosmologically from their environment, and we see a lot of people tarnish their environment. A lot of people litter. A lot of people just mistreat their environment. And we see people mistreating each other, going back to that sociological aspect. Sometimes people can feel separate from themselves or not have a real connection with themselves. And, that's where the self-abuse comes in. So again, that pathological behaviors of self-destruction come from the lens of seeing yourself as separate from everything else. And the first thing it stated was God, or again, the universe. So how are you one with the universe? This comes in many teachings. If you want to look at Buddhism, Hinduism, most mainstream religions, if you dive deep enough, you'll find this is the one truth, that the idea of oneness. And how can I try to explain that to you? How do we correspond with the universe and the world around us? Analyze that breath I just took. I just inhaled, and then I'm going to shortly after exhale. If I'm looking at it from an aspect of breathing, or the aspect of the earth also breathes, the trees correspond with our lungs, for example. Every time we breathe out, the air I just exhaled, the carbon dioxide, is inhaled by the earth, and then oxygen is exhaled. I correspond with the earth in the way in which I breathe. Same with water. There's water that exists within the earth. It's purified usually by nature. Trees purify water. The earth purifies water in which we drink. The mountains purify water that we drink. And then again, it passes through our body, and we live in an exchange in that aspect of the world. Same with food. We eat from the earth, and then we excrete, and often excretions of animals are actually used to produce food. So there is an aspect in which we very often see ourselves as just a physical being that's separate from everything else. But in 7 years, your whole body is different from the body 7 years ago. Every cell has died and regenerated into a new cell. So what part of you is actually physical and actually separate from everything else? If you look at the saliva in your mouth, is that a part of you? And then suddenly you spit it out. Is that no longer a part of you now? Other than our skin, that is the only thing that we see as separating us from everything else, but really it's an illusion. We are kind of one with everything, interacting with everything. That's where the word universe comes from. Universe, one. It is one thing. It is one song, one dance that's kind of playing out, and we are a part of it. Same with each other. We're all sharing the same air, we're all sharing the same food, so it's kind of going along this cycle. But we don't see a connection with each other ourselves, and often you can see the media is to blame for that, keeping people separate, showing us only, identity politics. They want people to feel separate and have no connection with one another. That's usually the reason we have these behaviors of self-destruction. If we saw ourselves as connected to the earth or our environment, we wouldn't mistreat it, because truly you're mistreating yourself. One example I can give is we feel more aligned with our home environment because we live in it day after day. So often you will see most people won't litter and just throw things around their own house unless they have complete disrespect for their own life, but sometimes they don't extend that outwards. They'll go outside and they will still litter because they don't feel as much of a connection outside as they do with their home environment. If you want to take that sociologically again, you might love and respect and treat your family well because you feel connection with them, you feel correspondence with them. But you go outside and sometimes you just feel anger and disconnection from the rest of the world for whatever reason. Maybe you're going to have loads of arguments and fights with people outside that you wouldn't necessarily have with your own mother, with your own children, with your own partner. So it's trying to understand, trying to bring that empathy, that level of empathy and connection and correspondence with everything around you, not just the things kind of closest to you. So that's essentially the teaching of the law of correspondence. And what strength can that give you? It gives you that mastery over the law of attraction, that law of being able to really achieve what you want in this life, because you realize that if you are one and the same with your environment and you feel a connection to it, then you can maneuver and rhythm through life a lot better, and you can have a connection with it, work with it to achieve the life you actually want to see around you, as within, so without. When you feel that connection, you'll feel an improvement in your mental health, you'll feel an improvement in your balance and connection with everything, and you will have that clearer slate or a clearer canvas to create your own reality. As within, so without. If you have a clear canvas within, a peaceful lake that's kind of still, you're able to paint that canvas as you would like, and then you'll see that change externally as well. And there's also people that want to extend that more just beyond their own life, and why not? Because we have, like as I said, we are the universe, we are connected with everything and everyone. So some people have, you know, massive dreams they would like to see, like world peace or a massive world change. This idea of as above so below, that gives you the power of understanding that you changing your own life in the best way that you can is the best contribution you can make to the whole. You are your own project. And Jordan Peterson often talks about this. You know, some people, they look at their own life, it's a complete mess. Their life is a mess, their relationships are a mess, they don't like their life, their job, anything around them, yet they want to protest and, you know, fight for these massive ideological changes, or that they want to change the world. But they're trying to do it from the top down rather than the bottom up. They don't see their life as important in that, you know, that correspondence with things. And when you have that mentality, if someone that's life is really like that, if we do put them in charge of the whole world, what's going to happen? They're going to, as within, so without, they're going to make a complete mess of the world, because their life essentially is a mess. No one essentially has the right to tell the whole world how they should go about living their lives when they don't have their own life in order. And with Jordan Peterson, as I mentioned, his 12 rules of life, I believe his rule is, you know, just something simple like clean your room, keep your own room and life in order. This is your own little corner of the world. And also in Chinese, they have Feng Shui. It starts within, and then slowly, you know, as you completely order your own life, order your own room, order your own relationships with the people around you, it's just going to extend out and out and out, and you're going to inspire others to live the same. And that is the true way to go about world change. And to try and understand that, there's a Taoist quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. When I teach Tai Chi, I always finish with this quote to anyone that studied Tai Chi with me. And it goes as follows: if there is to be peace within the world, there must be peace between nations. If there's to be peace between nations, there must be peace between cities. If there's to be peace between cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace within the home. If there's to be peace within the home, there must be peace within one's own heart. So again, as within, so without. You find that peace, at that level of peace internally, because you realize you do correspond with everything. And you finding that level of peace, don't think lightly of your level of change affecting the world, because you might not be able to do everything, but everyone can do something. And if you begin as that world changer and change your own life, you've done your absolute best in this lifetime to create that world peace that maybe we're all going to one day see, or whatever kind of idea that you would like to see within the world. So that's just kind of my level of understanding of the law of correspondence. I hope my ramblings kind of made sense for you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, this is a 7-part series, so yeah, look out for Law 3. It will be coming soon, and that's all I have to say. Peace out. Welcome to the Sageverse. Please just observe the birth of this creative surge, for the purpose to leave hatred purged and replaced with words that will make you learn to take your place on earth. And once you've taken your place and found your greatest of traits, cultivated the day, this will be making you say, this is the Sage's way.